Good afternoon. I'm Chris Ramsey, Assistant Vice Provost for Student Design and Experiential Learning, and a proud Missouri S&T graduate in metallurgical engineering. Thank you for joining us. While I wish we could be together in person, I'm glad that technology allows us to celebrate in this way. Before we continue our program, please join me in a moment of silence in memory of those who lost their lives on this day 19 years ago in the terrorist attacks on our country. Thank you for that moment of silence. I'd like to begin by time traveling back to May 2011, when many of you were standing on this site for the dedication of the Kummer Student Design Center. On that great day, we celebrated a $2.5 million transformation of a former bakery into a hub for experiential learning and a home for our design students. The project, funded entirely by private donations, was led by a naming gift from Fred and June Kummer. Now fast forward to last year, April 2019, when we gathered again, this time to break ground on an 8,000 square foot expansion of the Design Center. We kicked off the project that day with help of students, donors, and a slightly unwilling Mars rover. It took a few tries. Then the rover's robotic arm launched the project by removing the first brick. Over the past 15 months, we watched walls go up, floors go down, workspace and labs expand. We've watched equipment relocate to new homes within the Design Center as it doubled in size. Today we're gathered for a virtual celebration of our expansion to those who made it possible. Your investment in this remarkable center for the student innovation is deeply appreciated. Your investment in our teams and becoming members of these teams with us is equally appreciated. As those who followed the success of our student design teams are well aware, the expansion of the Kummer Student Design Center was needed for the best possible reasons. Growth, exponential growth. Over the past decade, the number of student design teams has doubled, and the number of students on our design teams has tripled. Now, in the face of COVID-19, our teams have had to adapt to new ways of working and competing, but nothing has stopped them. Nothing has stopped them from doing what they love, which is designing, building, testing, optimizing, breaking, testing, redesigning, and then going to competition and achieving excellence. You saw some extraordinary evidence of this past spring when our students 3D printed masks and face shields for local healthcare workers and first responders. The solution-driven miner spirit is strong. As those who so generously built this center and its expansion know, there is nothing like applied problem solving and the rigors of competition to give our students an edge in the real world. The Design Center is giving miners the space and the tools to achieve and maintain that edge. Now I'd like to turn our spotlight onto our headliners today, to the donors who funded this expansion. Names like Arnoldy, Bittner, Bailey, Boeing, Brinkman, Havener, Kummer, Labou, Ramsey, Shork, and many others. To the students who are benefiting from this new space and achieving the way that most of us alums weren't able to, and to the expansion itself. After our video and virtual tour, we'll return live to the center to cut the ribbon.
Let's go around. All right. All right, let's get those race faces on. You ready? Woo!
My name's Olivia Dean. The design teams and opportunities here are the reason that I came to Missouri S&T. So right away, I jumped in. Our competition requires both men and women to train, so that was a great opportunity to work with upperclassmen and have great role models my freshman year. I had an awesome trainer who told me that you can always make time for priorities. And that has been something that has stuck with me throughout my entire education here, because I'm always adding something more to my schedule for the benefit of improving my knowledge and my education. The Human Powered Vehicle Design Team has enriched my education by providing experiential learning. I was elected treasurer in my second year, and then from there, I was elected president. So there was a lot to learn in that position because there was a lot of rebuilding to do on the team. So with my officer board, we set goals and we made them happen. Every time we had an interested or prospective member, I asked them what they want to get out of the team. While our team, of course, had goals, we made sure to tailor every role of the team to completely fulfill everything that every member would want to gain and benefit from this experience.
Yeah, that's really all it is.
But that led me into my event coordinator position here. I work with all of our 20 teams, and whether that's just getting their project to a PR event up at the St. Louis Science Center or maybe down in Springfield. We do events all over the state, and I'm here to help. The Design Center most certainly comes up in every resume review that I have with any employer. I went into a manufacturing setting working as a project engineer, and I'm fairly certain that the only thing I had to talk about during that interview was the design team. It was the business side, it was the working with members, it was where I saw myself on the team in the future. I'm very honored to be having a hand in this expansion. I took on an internship at Missouri S&T with the Department of Design, Construction, and Space Management, where my main focus was making sure that this Design Center expansion has everything that we will possibly need. I recognize the needs of the end user, being the design teams, and hopefully looking forward into more growth of all of our teams. There is very much an interdisciplinary atmosphere here. Whether it was the Human Powered Vehicle team that covered 19 majors across our 46 members.
We have upwards of 1,200 students involved in the student design teams. There are a wide variety and diverse interests that we wanted to accommodate, and of course leave room for growth. We're always adding more teams and new projects.
We have amazing staff that each contribute differently to all of our teams. They're here to help, and we always know that they'll have our back.
Of course, traveling the country too. We have so many alumni who support us everywhere that we go, whether they're somewhere on the route that we stop to say hello or they're there supporting us at the end of every competition. It's humbling to see how many people and how much money and gifts in kind we receive to support this Student Design Center. So much of my college experience would not have happened had we not had such great donors. I'm standing in this new expansion of our Student Design Center, all privately funded, and that is incredible that we have so many supporters that really do whatever they can to make this education and this hands-on experience of value to not only all of our current students, but all of our corporate partnerships and everyone that we work together with to make our projects happen.
Hello everyone, my name is Dick Arnold. I am a 1969 civil engineering graduate and a 1973 engineering management graduate. When I attended Rolla, there were no student design teams. This is a relatively new concept in the past 50 years and one that I think benefits students well. I think the student design team teaches students skills that aren't necessarily learned in the classroom, such as teamwork, leadership, hands-on problem solving, and creativity. These skills will definitely help students in their future careers. I also like the competitive nature of the student design teams. Student design teams compete with students from universities throughout the country. This is a good time to experience the thrill of victory and also the disappointment of not coming in first. These are traits that you'll need throughout your career. Sometimes you'll be very successful, other times things don't quite go your way. I think the student design team teaches these well. Although I must admit, the Rolla student design teams have been very, very successful, and that's one of the reasons I'm such a big supporter. It's been 10 years, and now we're doubling the size of the Student Design Center. I hope that I'm here in another 10 years because we have again doubled the size. Thank you all, and have a great day.
Hello, I'm Mike Bittner. I graduated from S&T in 1968 with a BS in Mechanical Engineering and in 1973 with an MS in Engineering Management. I'm excited to participate in this expansion dedication of the Student Design and Experiential Learning Center. It is appropriate that this dedication is happening this fall, as this fall is also the 25th anniversary of the Academy of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineers. I've been a member of the Academy for 24 of those 25 years, and it is through the Academy that I became interested in the student design teams serving on the Academy's Student Design Committee. I can remember when there were only 6 teams meeting in the old metal Quonset hut building on State Street. The storage was limited, and the students were always fighting for space. My first year on that Academy committee was spent lobbying for a new truck for the design teams so they would have 2 vehicles, giving them the ability to attend more than one team competition any given weekend. Then around 10 years ago, I was able to help make the present location, the old Wholesome Bread building on the corner of 10th and Bishop, a reality. I was excited to be able to help. To watch the dedication, enthusiasm, and ingenuity of the students, to watch them learn how to be business managers, to see them deal with other engineering disciplines to solve common problems is a rewarding experience. I watched the SDELC grow from those 6 teams 24 years ago to the 19 teams presently. So once again, I was given the opportunity to help double the existing space with this new expansion. When Dr. Ramsey showed me the proposed expansion drawings, it was an immediate yes. So here we are 18 months later, dedicating this beautiful expansion. I am proud to be one of the miners who helped by digging deeper.
Welcome to the Student Design Center as we walk into this new fantastic space that's made possible by our donors. And they're not just donors. That's just not the way it works. This is a group of people who have joined our teams. So I would say, welcome home. We're walking towards the Bittner Machining Center, our expanded, new and improved machine shop. Believe it or not, all of these machine tools were in our previous machine shop. In this one, we've set up a lathe and a mill in 4 different cells, plus another cell of other manual support equipment, like the drill press, the bandsaw, the sanders, and the grinders, to give each team the ability to set up and then sort of reside in the space for some period of time to complete their projects. The older machine shop, our original Bittner machine shop, now houses our 3 3-axis CNC machines, our CNC lathe, and our 5-axis water jet machine, as it always has. In the Arnold Fabrication Center, we have the bays for all of our teams, and over here we have space for our Solar Car team, our Mini Baja team, and as we move on around this amazing high bay space, we've got places for our Mars Rover team, our Concrete Canoe team, our Steel Bridge team, our Electric Formula Car team, our Battlebots team, our Underwater Robot team, Multi-Rotor Robot, and our national champion this year, the Human-Powered Vehicle. Okay, we've made it over to our Concrete Canoe team. So, Catherine, why would anybody in their right mind make a concrete canoe, even though this is one of our oldest teams? We've been doing this stuff forever, so why?
And the answer is, as engineers, we will likely be working with concrete And so this really gives us the knowledge and experience of manipulating the properties of concrete. While we wouldn't necessarily manipulate them in this way to build a canoe in actual engineering roles, it still gives us a better understanding of the properties of concrete.
That's kind of cool. Understand the material of rock. It's more than just concrete, isn't it?
Yep.
It's kind of a complicated composite thing, right?
Yep.
So tell me about that.
The canoe itself is made up of one layer of concrete, and then there's a layer of carbon fiber mesh that is worked into the first layer, and then a second layer is put on top of the carbon fiber and then worked into it to increase the strength.
The electric Formula Car is a fantastic team. They've done great in the time that they've been in existence, which is about 6 years. And I'm here with Ethan and Mitchell. So what are you guys doing crawling around on the floor with this black stuff? Looks like fabric.
So this is past year's Formula Electric competition car. This car competed in competition very recently, and now for this year it will be our driver training car. And currently what we are doing is we are doing a composite layup, and we're cutting out carbon in the shape of our front end plates, because the front end plates ended up getting pretty dinged up as when you're out on course and you're running around, the drivers end up hitting cones with the front end plates and damaging them. So we're cutting out new pieces of carbon that we can use with resin, and whenever you lay them up with resin, they become hard as a rock and super light. Really cool material. Carbon fiber is awesome, and that's just one of the experiences we get here in terms of actually working with experiential learning. This car does 0 to 60 in about 2.8 seconds, and the battery's pulling like 300 amps, so the thing's pretty quick, and with the aero, it just becomes a real experience.
Can either of you imagine going to school anywhere else?
I definitely couldn't see myself going to school anywhere else. I mean, just the benefits that you get by working on this stuff here, it's experiential learning, right? It's about being able to actually build the stuff that you're learning how to design in class. Out here, you can go and you can lay up carbon fiber and you can mess it up and you can have a layup that goes bad and then you can do it again and learn how to do it right. You can go to a lathe and you can try and work on a very precise part and you can totally mess it up and then do it all again until you get it right. And that's what businesses love to see. That's when you get out of the school, that is the experience that you've gained that gives you an edge over everybody else, is not only do you know it in theory, but you know it in practice.
So what is this goofy looking thing with all the gears and the plastic parts on it and the funny little pinchers?
This is our 6-axis robotic arm. It's got 3 sets of differential gears, which each have 2 degrees of freedom, making a 6-degree of freedom arm. Use that to do inverse kinematics, so it moves all smooth and nice-like. It's got brushless motors, which are new for this year's arm.
What is this part of it? Why is this?
That's what we call bicep. It's a structural piece made from carbon fiber, and it's got its divinyl foam inside of it as a core to make it all a structural 3-dimensional composite piece, giving it more strength. We also like it kind of as an aesthetic piece, just as something that is nice to look at.
Okay, I'm standing with this really mean machine that's in a box with Tyler and Levi on our newest team. It's our Battlebots team. They just started off this last year. Levi is sort of the founding president of the team. Tell us about this crazy little angry thing that's not allowed to come out.
Yeah, so for the size of our robot, it's quite powerful. Our weapon here can speed up to 15,000 RPM, and by the time that thing gets up to speed, it would hit you with the equivalent punch of 5 pounds of TNT.
It's pretty aggressive. How in the world did you test this thing last fall and spring when you were getting ready to compete?
Yeah, so we actually built a large test arena, about 12 foot square, here at the Design Center, so that we had a safe place to do all of our testing. We actually threw some old 2x4s in there left over from the build, and those 2x4s are bouncing off the ceiling.
So Tyler, why? Why do you guys do this?
We founded the team because we loved robotics, and we wanted to take those robots that we tooled around with at our high school teams and make them fight other robots. Okay,
I'm at the multi-rotor robot team with Philip and Drew. So guys, tell us about this robot you've got here.
So this Mission 9 drone that we have here is actually 6 by 4 feet with 24-inch propellers on it. It weighs right about 55 pounds once you get the 2 12-pound batteries in there each. The batteries are 22,000 milliamp hours, And with both of those, flying at high speeds, we think we should have more than enough battery life to get through the 9-minute competition. It produces about 200 pounds of thrust at max throttle.
Tell me about this competition coming up.
So for this competition, we actually have to fly a total distance of 3.4 miles and interact with an object where we can remove a block off of a mast and then put a new block that the drone is carrying back onto said mast, and then fly the other half of the 3.4 miles back to where it began, all in under 9 minutes.
So tell me something about this thing that I don't know enough about it to ask.
So this huge drone is very expensive. So instead we have a smaller drone that's a little cheaper, but that we basically can crash without worrying about losing a ton of progress.
Over here is our chemistry lab that will house other experiment space. This is our new electronics lab. It's about twice as big as our previous electronics lab, but we'll have tables lined along the walls with all kinds of different equipment. We're walking into our storage area, our so-called storage area, but it's a lot more than that. Again, this one requires some imagination, but this is really going to be a storage and testing facility. So if you can imagine, along these walls, we'll have storage racks for teams to put their raw materials and their in-process materials in place so that they're nearby. And there'll be a big open space out here sort of in the middle that we'd like to maintain in order to give the team some room to do some things like, for instance, our Battlebots team can build an enclosure to test their Battlebot in a safe manner. And then we have this large plaza where we can do outdoor testing, particularly for things like the Mars rover, the human-powered vehicle team, and some of the other wheeled projects to do some testing, as well as testing the airplane and measuring thrust and things like that that don't work well in the interior. We're very grateful for this space, grateful for our partners on our teams that help to make this space possible. Experiential learning and that magic that happens when a student is on a team is alive and well here because of our team members that have helped make this possible. And again, on behalf of all the students here, we're very grateful. Thank you. First, I'd like to thank everyone who contributed to the video. It was a team effort, and I'm grateful to the donors, the students, and staff members who captured the joy of this day. It is now my honor to dedicate our expansion. On behalf of the students who design, build, and discover here, the donors who generously built this home of innovation and our campus community, I hereby dedicate the expansion of the Kummer Student Design Center. May present and future generations dare to dream within these walls and beyond as pioneers, explorers, leaders, and miners. Might be some scissors around here that I could cut the ribbon with. What is that? That's it. We've dedicated our new 8,000 square foot expansion to our Student Design Center. Now it's time to roll up our sleeves and get to work, stop talking, and start working. I will remind you all that this presentation is available on S&T's YouTube channel and will be up very soon. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.